Good morning, students. How are you? How has been the break? And how was your weekend? I am once again OLABISI Taiye, your further mathematics teacher. And today we shall be looking at common logarithm. And like we discussed in our last class, common logarithm uses 10 as its base, which means when we talk about common logarithm, we are referring to logarithm of numbers in base 10. And there are two parts of this logarithm to base 10. And the first one is called characteristic. Can you see it? Characteristic. Characteristic is the integral part of logarithm. The integral part of logarithm, which means the number is an integer, a whole number. Then the second part is the mantissa. Mantissa is the decimal part. So if the logarithm of a number is 1.0324, this one is referred to as characteristic, while the decimal number, this 4 decimal number, is referred to as mantissa. Is that okay? All right, let's proceed. Then you see this is an example. You have to find the logarithm of 238.2. The logarithm of 238.2. Now, if you convert this number to standard form, mind you, standard form is to convert a number to a decimal after the first whole number. Now, the first whole number here is 2, so we have to move this point behind 2. And then when you do that, you move 2 times. You move from this initial point where the decimal point is, you move it 1, 2. You are taking 2 steps. And that's why you multiply the number by 10 raised to power 2. So the point has moved from this initial point to immediately after the first whole number, which is 2.382 times 10 raised to power number of times we moved, that's 2. Now the number of times we moved is the characteristic, which is the 2. And then you can get the mantissa from the table you refer to as 4-figure table. Now how do you do that? You pick the first 2 numbers, which is 23. You check for 23 under 8 and difference of 2. So you pick your 4-figure table, your mathematical table that you refer to as 4-figure table. You check 23 under 8 and difference of 2. If you do that, you get 3770, and this will form the decimal. So the characteristic is 2, which will now say 2 points. So that's the characteristic. And then the mantissa is 3770. So therefore, the answer of log 238.2 is 2.3770. Is that understood? I think it's simple enough. Okay. Now the opposite of logarithm is anti-logarithm. To find a number whose logarithm is given, look at the number which corresponds to the mantissa from the table of the anti-logarithm. Now, when you are given the logarithm of a number and then you want to find the number, you find the anti-logarithm. Now, when you are looking for anti-logarithm, the characteristic is not first put into consideration. You first deal with the mantissa. So, if you have something like this, if log x base 10 is equal to 2.3054, what this question is simply saying is, this is the log. You are given the log, and then you have to find the number. The number is the x that you are looking for. Now, 2 is the characteristic, while 3054 is the mantissa, and this is the characteristic. So now you are going to consider your mantissa. Like I said, the mantissa is 3054, this, and then you read 30 under 5 difference 4. 30 under 5 difference 4. Mind you, when you get 30 under 5, you trace 30 under 5 and then difference of 4. You add the difference. So it will give you 2.020. Whatever answer you get, you write the answer in standard form, because it is in standard form until you apply the characteristic. Now 2.020, and then the characteristic, like I told you, the characteristic is 2. So you are moving this point twice. You are moving twice, 1 and 2. Then the point will now be here, will be at this back of this second 2. So since the characteristic is 2, and then 2.020 times 10 raised to the power 2, that's moving it 2 times. It will give you 202. You can say 202.0 or 202. So x is equal to 202. It's as easy as eating banana. You see, in logarithm, you can also have basic operations like multiplication, division, square, and square root. Now, when you are given multiplication, you have to multiply two numbers, and you have to use your table. Without using calculator, you can actually get this number. No matter how big two numbers are, you can use your logarithm to get the multiplication, the division, the square root, the square, and so forth, and so on and so forth. Now, what you do is you get a table like mine here. You draw a table like this, and then this place you have the number, this side you have the logarithm. Now the first number here is 12.34. Now if you look at 12.34, if you convert it to standard form, this point will move once. So if this point is expected to move once, it means your characteristic is 1. Your characteristic is 1. Then you now check 12 under 3 difference 4. 12 under 3 difference 4. So if you check 12 under 3 is difference 4, it will give you 0912. So you put it as your mantissa. Now you go to the next number, 139.7. 139.7. To get this into the standard form, you move this point twice. 1, 2. That will give you 2 points. Then you check 13 under 9 difference 7. If you check that, you have 1453. So you have 2 as the characteristic and 1453 as the mantissa. Are we together? So when you do this, you now add the two logarithms together. You add 2 plus 3 is 5, 1 plus 5 is 6, 9 plus 4 is 13, 3 carry 1, 1 plus 1 is 2, and then 1 plus 2 is 3. So you have your answer in logarithm as 3.2365. 3.2365. That's your answer. Now when you have gotten that, like I said earlier, you convert this logarithm back to anti-logarithm to know the exact number, because these numbers, the numbers are ordinary numbers. They are not supposed to be in logarithm. So you have to convert the logarithm back to ordinary number by using your anti-logarithm. Now, when you are doing that, you first consider your mantissa. Your mantissa is 2365. You check for 23 under 6 difference 5. 23, that's under anti-log. Please don't make the mistake of checking logarithm for anti-log. Don't misplace them, please. 23 under 6 difference 5. Now, don't forget, we have not touched the characteristic. We are still dealing with the mantissa. Now, when you check that, it will give you 1.724. Remember, I told you any answer you get is written in standard form. Then times 10 raised to power the number of the characteristic. When you do that, it will make you move your point 3 times. 1, 2, 3. So your final answer is 1724. 1700, then you can now write the answer, your final answer. You can now write it here. I think it's simple enough. Okay, now let's proceed. The solution to question number 2. Question number 2 says 0.003458 times 0.8461. Now let's look at the solution together. We shall look at the solution together. This is the solution. The first number is 0.003458. And if you check very well, the characteristic will be what? You move this 1. Now we are moving to the right. Remember the first time we moved to the left. Now we are moving to the right. 1, 2, 3. Before the first number, we have to move 3 times. I move again. I want to move my point again. I move 1, 2, 3. And then the point will be behind number 3. So since I've moved 3 times, my characteristic will be 3, but now a negative 3. We call this bar 3. This is bar 3, negative 3. In logarithm is called bar 3. Now check for 34 under 5 difference 8. You have 5388. To the next number now. The next number is 0.8461. You have to move your point once to become standard form. So you have bar 1, that's negative 1, bar 1, and then 84 under 6, logarithm of 84 under 6 difference 1. You have 9274. So you have bar 1.9274. Now because you are multiplying, you add your logarithm. You add your logarithm. 8 plus 4, 12, 2 carry 1. 8 plus 7, 15 plus 1, 16. 6 carry 1. 1 plus 3 is 4 plus 2 is 6. 5 plus 9 is 14. 4 carry 1. Now the one you carry is a positive 1. So positive 1 and negative 3 is negative 2. Because you have 2 debts, you have 1. You have 3 debts, you have 1. So 3 minus 3 plus 1 is minus 2. So minus 2 minus 1 will give you minus 3. That's why we have bar 3.4662 as the logarithm. Now you convert this to antilog. You have to consider 46 under 6 difference 2. Antilog for 46 under 6 difference 2. Now the antilog of 0.46 under 6 difference 2 will give you 2.926. Then you multiply by 10 raised to power minus 3 because of the characteristic. The characteristic might get negative 3. Now when you do that, you move this to the left 3 times. 1, 2, you had 0. 3, you had 0. And then you put points. So it will be 0.002926. 0.002926. And that is the answer you transfer here. It's as easy as eating banana. I believe you are following me. Now, let's go to division. That is for multiplication. If you could recall, I told you that when it is multiplication, under your logarithm, your multiplication will turn to addition, like we have here. Okay? Like we have here, and then we also have here. You can see it. So now let's go to division. We are going to division. You have used tables to evaluate each of the following. 87.42 divided by 28.79. So we shall see that. You see, you got solution number 1. You draw your number and your log. This side for the numbers and this side for the logarithm. Now, 87.42. You have to move this point once to your left, and that gives you a positive characteristic once. So 1 point. Then you check 87 under 4 difference 2. You have 9416. 9416. You do the same thing to 28.79. You're also moving once. which makes your characteristic to also be 1. Check 28 under 7 difference 9. That will give you 0.4593. So now, because it is division, when you get to logarithm, you subtract. So if you subtract 3 from 6, you have 3. 9 from 1, you lend 1 here. That's 9 from 11, you have 2. Here you are left with 3. You lend 1 here. 13 minus 5, you have 8. Then you are left with 8 here. 8 minus 4, you have 4. 1 minus 1, you have 0. So you have 0.4823. Then you find the antilog. Ignore the characteristic and go to the mantissa. 48, antilog of 48 under 2 difference 3. You have 3.036. Then times 10 raised to power number of the characteristic. The characteristic is 0. 10 raised to power 0 is 1. Because under law of indices, any number raised to power 0 is equal to 1. So you multiply 1 by this, the answer remains the same, 3.036. You transfer it here, and that's your final answer. Very simple. Let's go to the solution of the second one. The second question says 0.4826 divided by 0.005926. Okay, now here's the solution. Solution number 2. You have your number and you have your logarithm again as usual. Now, the characteristic of this is to move right once. After the first significant number, you stop. So you have -1 because you are moving to the right. You have, when you move to the left, you have positive. When you move to the right, you have negative characteristic. So you have bar 1, that's -1. Then check for 48 under 2 difference 6. Logarithm of 48 under 2 difference 6 will give you 0.6835. Then for 0.0059, you move your point 1. This is 0, is not significant. This is not significant 2. And then 3 is significant. That's after your 5. It will be is significant. Then you have 59 under 2 difference 6 logarithm. So you have 0.77727. So you move 3 times, you have bar 3 or -3 as your characteristic. Then you have 7727 as your mantissa. Then because the question says divide, then you subtract the logarithm. 5 minus 7, of course, you take 1 from 3. 15 minus 7 is 8. This is 2. You are left with 2 here. 2 minus 2 is 0. 8 minus 7 is 1. 6 minus 7 is not possible. You take 1 from here. When you take 1 from here, you are left with bar 2. You are left with bar 2. Because when you borrow 1 from -1, the next lower number to -1 is -2. Please mind that. The next lower number on the number line after 0, if you have 0, 1, 2, you have -1 and you have -2. So if you take 1 from 2, you have 1. If you take 1 from 0, you have 0. If you take 1 from 1, you have 0. If you take 1 from 0, you have -1. If you take 1 from -1, you have -2, and like that. So you have -2. So this is 16. 16 minus 7 is 9, and -2 minus -3. So minus, we cancel minus to be plus. -2 plus 3 will give you +1. So you have 1.9108. So the mantissa is 0.9108. Therefore, you go for the antilog of 91 under 0 difference 8. And that will give you 8.143 multiplied by 10 raised to power number of the characteristic 1. So you move your point once to the right. Move your point once to the right, and then that will give you 81.43. That you transfer here as your answer. It's as easy as eating banana. Well, in case you have any question, you can contact me on WhatsApp. You can call my number. My number is 07068275123. I hope you've gotten that. This is 6. Let me write it clearly. This should be 6. Let me write the 6 clearly so that for those that will not see it clearly, this is 6. So 07068275123. 1, 2, 3. Thank you for staying through the class. If you have any question, like I said, you can call my phone number and then I'll explain to you. Thank you. God bless you.